Air attacks cut Iraqi supply lines. The battleship Missouri shells Iraqi positions as the prelude to ground war intensifies. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting tonight with a special War Update edition. Good evening. Overview of the war at this hour. The concentration is on air attacks to soften up the Iraqi military for a possible Allied ground offensive. A clear pattern of naval operations has emerged. It suggests possibly the largest amphibious operation since Incheon during the Korean War, or at the very least, a feint at such an amphibious landing. Iraqi forces are lying low. American and Allied warplanes are keeping up their relentless attacks inside Iraq and Kuwait with a steady shift to the south, to Kuwait. Reports from Baghdad and Basra tell of widespread devastation in Iraq's two main cities. A refugee from Basra is quoted as saying people there are collecting drinking water from puddles in the street. Correspondent Eric Ingberg has details of the war from Saudi Arabia.
The Allied air forces, now flying one bombing mission a minute against the Iraqis, today offered photo evidence they can also channel that destruction with precision. RAF planes using laser-guided bombs yesterday put an enemy bridge on the crosshairs, then took it out. The Allies have used their control of the skies to grind down Iraq's ability to deliver food and ammunition to its troops in Kuwait. They now claim 27 of the 35 main bridges are wrecked, enemy road traffic at a crawl.
I think it's interesting to note that while we would have characterized vehicle convoys in the past, maybe 50 to 100 vehicles, we're now beginning to see them cut their vehicle convoys down to 5 and 10 vehicles at a time.
The High Command asserted today the air war is so deadly that Saddam Hussein has resorted to moving his planes and other weapons into schoolyards, residential neighborhoods, and possibly mosques, taking advantage of the Allied policy of sparing such areas.
He can hide a select part, I guess, of his military capability, but he can't hide it all. And we will continue to scrupulously adhere to our policy is that we will not target civilian areas. So I guess you could conclude that he has protected some of his assets.
As sandstorms hampered vision over some targets and the enemy made no moves on the ground, the Air Force focused more of its attention on the Republican Guards, Iraq's best troops. The surrender of several hundred second-line troops last week has heartened U.S. commanders. While some of them fought well, one senior officer said that they were badly fed and convinced that against the U.S.-led coalition, their cause is hopeless. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Saudi Arabia.
Iran officially says it is uninvolved in the Gulf conflict, that it is neutral, but President Rafsanjani injected himself into the middle of the war today, offering to mediate between Iraq and the United States. The U.S. State Department said it would be open to any contacts, but closed as ever to the idea of negotiating on Kuwait. CBS News correspondent Bob Fall covered Rafsanjani's news conference in Tehran.
Rafsanjani insisted Iran would spend this war sitting on the sidelines, as neutral as Switzerland, he said, in World War II.
We are serious in our neutrality. We are not going to do anything that can violate our neutrality.
Iran's president added that he sent Saddam what Rafsanjani called ideas for peace, which he said could end the war. Iran's news agency quoted Rafsanjani as saying he was willing to see Saddam personally, that, quote, if Saddam accepts our ideas, we might prepare a peace plan. However, he would not give details, and he would say precious little about the estimated 100 warplanes Iraq recently flew here, which Iran has grounded. Diplomats in Tehran tell CBS News most of the aircraft flew here in orderly formations and are parked off unused runways at military bases near Desfoul and Hamdan. When CBS News asked to see the planes, Rafsanjani refused. Pressed for details, he said that 3 had crashed, others were damaged. As one foreign diplomat here put it, all that talk about neutrality is complete hogwash. The Rafsanjani government, he went on, desperately wants Saddam disposed of and hopes the U.S. coalition does its dirty work. What is also clear here, from the president to the man on the street, is that while Saddam is regarded as the villain, the United States is still considered the enemy. So Rafsanjani's warning today to the United States not to leave its troops in the Gulf for long is applauded on Tehran streets and on the Tehran University campus, where where the Iranian Revolution took hold.
Is the enemy Saddam or is the enemy the United States?
I think both are, for us, both are enemy. But now the first is United States, America.
Iran then remains a society divided between those who want to shun the West and those who believe Iran can no longer afford to, much as the pragmatist Rafsanjani believes that a country devastated by its 8-year war with Iraq cannot afford to get involved in another. Bob Fall, CBS News, Tehran.
President Bush had his spokesman throw cold water today on Iran's offer to mediate. Defense Secretary Dick Cheney also was frigid to the idea, and as if to underscore this, for the first time, the 16-inch guns of the U.S. battleship Missouri today joined in the pounding of Iraqi positions in Kuwait. David Martin at the Pentagon has the latest on all of this. David?
Dan, the Bush administration made it clear today there is almost no hope for a diplomatic breakthrough that would end this war without further bloodshed. Defense Secretary Cheney said the only solution he can see to Iraq's occupation of Kuwait is the military solution.
If someone can come up with a diplomatic resolution that achieves that objective, that would be fine, but I frankly don't expect it. I think that we're now in a situation, having embarked upon the course we're on, that we will pursue military action until we've achieved our objective and that of our coalition partners.
The U.S. today unleashed another weapon on the Iraqi army. For the first time, the battleship Missouri lobbed 2,000-pound shells from its 16-inch guns onto Iraqi bunkers in Kuwait.
And that translates to about 18,000 pounds of ordnance that went in on some command and control bunkers. We confirmed that those bunkers were destroyed.
Aircraft that were once attacking airfields in Iraq are now attacking troops in Kuwait. The flight time is shorter, and that translates to more missions, 2,700 over the last 24 hours. Some of them quite successful, as when Marine Harriers attacked a column of tanks.
They attacked them with rockeye bombs, total of 24 bombs, and the results from the initial pilot reports are 25 Iraqi tanks destroyed or at least burning.
Allied operations are beginning to have a snowball effect. The destruction of Iraq's missile-carrying patrol boats makes it safer to bring the battleship's guns in range of Kuwait. The dismantling of Iraq's air defenses makes it easier for pilots to drop bombs with greater accuracy. Some units in the Iraqi army are reported to have been reduced to between 50 and 75% of their former effectiveness, although the only measure that counts is how well they fight.
Very difficult to measure by the means that are available to us how effective those units are until we see them actually come out and engage.
Cheney said there is still no decision on when or even if to launch a ground offensive against the Iraqi army, but the day for that decision is drawing closer. The last ship carrying equipment for the armored divisions that would spearhead the offensive was scheduled to dock in Saudi Arabia today. Dan?
Thanks, David. In Virginia, a frightening discovery today not far from the major U.S. Navy base at Norfolk. Someone planted a half-dozen pipe bombs on storage tanks containing more than 1 million gallons of potentially explosive chemicals. Rita Braver is covering the mysterious pipe bomb case in Virginia.
Law enforcement officials tonight are searching for clues as to who planted 6 pipe bombs on flammable chemical storage tanks in Norfolk, just miles from the nation's largest naval base. Early this morning, workers at Allied Marine Terminal discovered a timer attached to 2 bombs on a tank filled with 1 million gallons of methanol. A short time later, 4 more bombs on another timer were found on an adjacent tank. None of the devices went off. Apparently, all the timers malfunctioned.
Had they detonated, it could have caused severe damage, if not loss of life.
A mile-wide area was evacuated. Dozens of bomb experts summoned. State and local police and firefighters, federal agents from the FBI and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, and a Navy explosives team. The bombs were defused or taken to an isolated area and detonated. Now technicians will examine every scrap of evidence.
Certainly a terrorist act is one of the things that the Federal Bureau of Investigation is going to be looking at.
So far, however, no one is claiming responsibility for the incident. Thousands of sailors from the Norfolk base have shipped out to the Middle East, and there's some speculation that the nearby storage tank area became a likely target because of tight security at the base. But right now, investigators say they have no sure motive and no suspects. Rita Braver, CBS News, Washington.
Straight ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, a look at what it's all costing. President Bush's new spending plan, who gets what, and how large the deficit really is.
cold always starts small. A stuffy nose, a little sneeze. But before you know it, your cold is full grown. Achoo! That's when you need Dimetap, the grown-up medicine. If it was any stronger, you'd need a prescription. Maximum strength Dimetap Extend tabs work for 12 full hours. It's the way to relieve the congestion and sneezing of a full-grown cold. Dimetap, relief for the full-grown cold.
This is the sound of Unisom, the sound of sleep. With Unisom, you hit your pillow and fall asleep fast. Tonight, you can sleep more soundly with Unisom, America's #1 sleep aid.
You know, that sign wasn't up there for more than a couple, 3 days. And bingo.
I've never seen a house move so fast. I've never seen a real estate outfit move so fast.
We're prepared to get the results you're looking for. The Prudential, you know us, we know real estate.
When 1 in 4 adults looks at dairy food, their stomach says stop. Say no now, or pay later. Antacids aren't made for this problem, called lactose intolerance. But new Dairy Ease is. It's not an antacid, but a natural nutritional supplement that helps comfortable digestion of ice cream, cheese, and milk. Now enjoy dairy food as naturally as everyone else with pleasant-tasting, chewable new Dairy Ease.
President Bush sent Congress his new federal budget proposal today, a wartime budget that does not spell out the full expense of the war. It also presumes a short and mild recession. Even while accentuating the positive, this Bush budget outline includes a forecast of record-high U.S. federal deficits. Chief Washington correspondent Bob Schieffer has the details.
Like the line of people at the government printing office when it comes rolling off the presses each year, the budget just keeps growing. This year's whopper tops out at $1.45 trillion. Red, white, and blue on the outside, the administration's people said today this year's emphasis is on reducing the red ink inside.
Reducing the budget deficit by controlling spending must remain our #1 priority.
A worthy goal, but don't hold your breath for results. Even after all the arguing and the new taxes that Congress voted last year, deficit spending this year could total a record $318 billion. At best, the new budget envisions holding the 92 deficit to around $281 billion. And that's not even counting the full cost of the war in the Persian Gulf. One reason first reviews from the Democrats were not raves.
With war and recession staring us in the face, I would have to characterize this budget as a cross your fingers, close your eyes, and hope for the best budget.
No call for new taxes this time, but the new budget signals the president will push again to cut taxes on capital gains to boost business. With no sign of an immediate end of the recession, this budget stresses the long view on the economy.
Looking at the longer term, that we expect the economy to rebound by the middle of the year. We expect growth to pick up on the second half of this year and into 1992.
The new blueprint allots slightly more for education, research, and the nation's transportation system, somewhat less for defense, but only because the administration is not including all the war costs in the Pentagon budget and is counting on the allies to pay a $51 billion chunk of those expenses.
The $51 billion should be very close to sufficient, although it's impossible to be definitive at this point.
It's those figures that raise most of today's questions.
Well, obviously based on a high expectation of very large contributions from other countries, I hope that that will prove to be realistic.
The administration assumes our allies like Japan and Germany will contribute their fair share. If you believe these assumptions, I've got a dream vacation in Baghdad I'd like to sell you.
In truth, dreams seem to make up a large portion of the budgets that presidents have been sending to Congress lately. So while this one admits record deficits this year and next, the administration is already forecasting what Ronald Reagan once promised, balanced budgets after the next election. Dan?
Bob Schieffer, thanks. One feature of President Bush's budget proposal today would take from the Congress and give to the nation's governors more say in spending some federal program money. Randall Pinkston at the White House has our report on that.
President Bush's budget may be getting mixed reviews on Capitol Hill, but at least one proposal is a hit with the nation's governors. Mr. Bush told them today he wants to give them federal money without federal red tape.
The point is, you are on the problem-solving edge of this equation. You are better equipped to represent the diverse interests of the various states.
According to the administration's plan, $15 billion would be handed over to the states, which would have the power to decide how to spend the money within 5 broad categories: education, environment, social services, housing, and law enforcement. One governor estimated that getting rid of complicated federal guidelines would eliminate about 4 million hours of bureaucratic paperwork in his state alone.
I think if we could avoid those kinds of bureaucratic overlays and the restrictions that they impose, the benefit to the states and to the people ultimately would be monumental.
The Democratic chairman of the Governors Association also endorsed the plan, but predicted it won't be easy to convince Congress to give up control.
It's not going to happen without Congress. It's our job, if we're interested in this program, to go up and lobby it, and we intend to do so.
Still, some governors say that after a decade of cutbacks in federal programs by the Reagan and Bush administrations, the plan is too little, too late.
So it's nice to say that you're going to have more discretion to preside over a whole host of different programs that themselves have been reduced dramatically. It's trying to get 10 pounds of potatoes into a 5-pound bag.
Still, even for skeptics like New Jersey's Governor Jim Florio, it comes down to this. If there are federal dollars in the pipeline, governors would rather decide themselves where the dollars go, not Washington. Randall Pinkston, CBS News, the White House.
Suffering from slumping sales, number one automaker General Motors had bad news for workers today. GM says that over the next 2 years, it will cut 15,000 white-collar jobs. GM says the recession and economic turmoil caused by the Gulf crisis have eroded consumer confidence.
All right, how many this time? 8 cavities! 14 cavities? I didn't think I had that many teeth. You're gonna have to drill? My parents will be very upset.
Parents today hope their kids won't have to go through what they went through. Luckily, today's kids use the toothpaste more dentists recommend, Crest. The first toothpaste clinically shown to give you protection down to the root of the tooth.
Another great checkup. Yes! Woo, woo, woo. Later, dude.
Crest, the dentist's choice, is the easy choice.
It's been fun.
Some things are more important to your peace of mind than you realize. Like knowing how to maintain regularity without drugs or medication. But do you know nutrition experts recommend increasing your dietary fiber intake as a drug-free way to promote regularity? And did you know that All Bran, as part of a balanced diet, is a very high source of dietary fiber?
A high-fiber diet, including Kellogg's All Bran. It can be a drug-free way to maintain regularity.
A lot of you insist on eating wheat thins and oat thins because they taste good. But the whole idea behind these crackers is that you can eat them without feeling guilty. That's why they're baked, not fried. I mean, eat them because they're delicious, and you miss the whole point.
What pain reliever do doctors recommend most for minor arthritis pain, backaches, sprains and strains, and menstrual pain? Advil. Gentler to your stomach than aspirin, safe, trusted, doctor recommended. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Chris, Vicky, Bud, Ron, and Hope. Teamwork. That's what works at News Channel 5. More news, more experience, more often.
Investigators tried today to recreate the circumstances surrounding last week's disastrous collision at the Los Angeles International Airport. Parceling out blame will not be simple, as we hear from Richard Roth.
1033, counter ground point 65.
With crash debris finally cleared away, operations were routine this morning at Los Angeles International Airport, except for a time around runway 24 left.
Pilots note, Alice 24 left and 25 right not operational.
Federal investigators today were closing the runway to reenact the accident, the chain of events Friday night when the U.S. Air jet and SkyWest commuter plane collided in flames, killing 34 people. Findings so far point to an air traffic controller pressured by communications troubles on a busy night, directing the two planes tragically to the same spot. But the investigation is also pointing to equipment problems, maintenance, and design in the tower where controllers work. A radar system designed to sweep the ground wasn't working, And an accident investigator who toured the tower later says he wouldn't have seen the collision coming even if he had looked up.
When he looked toward the intersection between runway 24 left and taxiway 45, his view was blocked by a series of 4 light posts. He said one of these structures was dead in the middle of that intersection.
There was more. Controllers' display monitors out of focus or misaligned, other equipment with no available spare parts. The early findings are renewing concerns about operations at most big airports, from outdated radar to old-fashioned radio, operations that critics say aren't keeping up with technology.
We've got technology that you can buy literally down the street in your local electronics store that is more sophisticated in essence, in principle, than what we have saddled our air traffic control system with.
The Federal Aviation Administration, responsible for running the nation's airports, won't comment on the criticism of Los Angeles International. The head of the Controllers Union said today the system is safe, though not as safe as it could be, not as safe as it should be. Richard Roth, CBS News, Los Angeles.
All-time hits leader Pete Rose was effectively barred today from baseball's Hall of Fame. The Hall adopted a rule excluding players who have been declared permanently ineligible, as was Rose for allegedly betting on games and cheating on his taxes. If Rose should be reinstated, he would become eligible for election to the Hall of Fame later. I'll be back in a minute with a really different view of the war in the desert.
Did you know there are 2 types of bills? The kind everybody loves to get and the kind everybody hates to get. Now, if your small business is using another long-distance company, send us your last bill, switch to AT&T Pro Watts, and you'll save up to 1,000 of these bills. What's more, with Pro Watts, you'll be getting AT&T quality at an extremely competitive price. So call now, because you can never have too many bills. I mean these bills, not these bills. Up to $1,000 savings. Another AT&T advantage.
Introducing a new idea in air freshening, Glade Country Pottery.
Put out the pottery, put it here, put it there.
Simple, handmade pieces of glazed pottery.
Put it everywhere, put out the pottery. Put the fresh country air anywhere.
The porous clay releases the light, fresh scent for 30 days.
Just put out the pottery, put the fresh country air everywhere.
Put out the pottery, new Glade Country Pottery.
Seems to me a new car warranty should cover the entire car for many miles. Now take Ford Taurus. Its basic warranty ends at just 12,000 miles. But the basic warranty on the new Cutlass Supreme goes a bit farther.
Like from New York to LA, back to New York to LA, 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 to New York, plus a trip to Anchorage, Alaska.
Cutlass Supreme with its bumper-to-bumper plus warranty. Here's one car that does it all and does it right. Hey, Dad.
This is the new generation of old.
I'm Paula Zahn. Tomorrow, Harry Smith reports live from Saudi Arabia with the latest news from the Gulf. Plus, Glenn Close and Mel Gibson will join us on CBS This Morning.
Everyone who experiences war sees it differently, but only a few can record their feelings on paper and canvas. And as Bruce Morton tells us, the Gulf War is no exception.
All kinds of people go to war, plumbers and poets and artists. Navy Commander John Charles Roach is the first artist back from the Persian Gulf, painting hard to get ready for a show which opens today.
I wanted to depict something that the American people could take home with them, so to speak, after they see the show, to say that my son, my daughter, served in this kind of an environment, this kind of a circumstance. Gee whiz, was it that hot?
Roach sketched the build-up, planes and ships, men and women waiting. He was back home working on finished paintings by the time the shooting started.
I'm looking for how American sailors, airmen, soldiers behave in this environment, what is so unique about the American character that seems to make a home wherever they go.
The official military art program dates back to World War II. The Navy alone has thousands of paintings and drawings. Howard Brody was an Army combat artist in that war and sketched later in Korea and Vietnam.
It seemed to me that war provided that context for the human to be so profoundly real in fear or pain or courage or whatever it would be that it was very moving to me at all times.
Brody and Roach, who was also a Navy artist in Vietnam, both say human qualities are what they want to show.
Most often, what I was looking for is how do people react and behave within that environment, that off-guarded moment that speaks to their humanity. That's what I was looking for.
This was the man who turned to me in combat and said, you know, I can never kill a man. I aim over their heads and hope they surrender.
Brody remembers this scene from Korea.
This buddy of his was so overwhelmed to see his friend come back and still be alive. He moved down and embraced him and said, I thought she was dead, Rosie. I thought she was dead.
Roach remembers this Marine from the Gulf.
He's the kind of personality that just sort of gnaws at your soul, and that's what I wanted. And the fact that he was a Marine told me even more, and that he was an honest, young human being found in this horrible place, that I said, this has got to be the painting.
In the field, Roach scribbles notes and sketches, takes photographs. The paintings come later, but he says you have to be there.
You can't talk about something you know nothing about any more than you can come back from a place you've never been. You've got to be there to feel it.
Why combat art? Because at its best, it will last, will teach emotional lessons which news reports and news photographs cannot.
The artist can say a great deal more than the camera by being able to interpret what he is putting down. It is definitely history. That's why it's recorded and kept.
Artists help us remember what it was like. Roach is the first to send us memories from the Persian Gulf, but other artists are there now, and he expects to go back. Bruce Morton, CBS News, Washington.
And I'll be back in just a moment, so stay here with us.
Oh no, my hair's not only going gray, now it's getting thinner. I wish they made something for gray thinning hair.
They have. Grecian Plus. Grecian Plus is a fresh-smelling foam that gradually brings back natural-looking color, the famous Grecian way. But this Grecian has a big plus. It builds body for healthier, fuller-looking hair.
Your hair looks great, feels thicker too.
Grecian Plus, the total treatment for gray thinning hair.
When sore muscles or minor arthritis pain hold you back, you need strong medicine. Ben Gay with not just one, but 2 pain relievers. Warming power for fast relief. Helps get you going again. Ben Gay, fast, strong medicine for pain relief.
This is the Maytag Jet Clean dishwasher with 47 powerful jets that scrub from the top, bottom, and sides. It's made to do the dishes with little help from you. Or me. Maytag, the dependability people.
During the course of one 60-minute workout, a body can be depleted of vitamins B6 and C, carbohydrates, and valuable potassium, all of which, it so happens, can be replaced by eating 1 Chiquita banana. So whatever you put out, put back. Chiquita, quite possibly the world's perfect food.
This is CBS.
Good evening, I'm Vicki Yates.
And I'm Chris Clark. Coming up on News Channel 5's 6 o'clock report, are fast food drive-thrus safe?
Who's in charge of keeping your kids from skipping school? And the very first photos of the 101st in action. Those stories plus questions surround the death of a young Nashville boy and where does the state stand on prisons?
And tonight's Friends Report is banking that you'll enjoy a collector's notes. News Channel 5's 6 o'clock report is next.
Let me show you how S&K's big final winter clearance sale works. Choose from hundreds of famous maker suits with names like Henry Grethel, Lord & Taylor, and Society Brand. Then, get $50 to $100 off S&K's everyday low prices. Big savings on all remaining top coats, raincoats, and sweaters, too. Is now the time to get to S&K? You bet it is.
S&K's final winter clearance sale. Hurry in for best selection.
I wish I didn't have to take a laxative.